Big round top, little round top. Wentz Farm. Surfy Farm. See the truck coming down there. That means that is the Millerstown Road that we're looking at. Way out yonder, through the trees here, kind of have, I guess you call it West Gettysburg, Cumberland Township. Down there you've got the Eisenhower National Historic Site. Pretty view up here. And it's hard to see, but beyond the Eisenhower National Historic Site, I think we would be looking at Fairfield, and beyond that, Carroll Valley. But it is a beautiful view, and of course we've got the mountains in the distance. Howdy. Got a jacket on, but we're actually supposed to get up to 70 degrees today. Pretty great. Starting off chilly. Started off just above freezing. And I am, of course, at the Longstreet Tower, Longstreet Observation Tower. One of the best views in the park. And that would mean that this down here would be West Confederate Ave. Now I did bypass the monuments up the road, that direction, you know, the Virginia Monument and all. Just covered those recently. But naturally, when I'm over here on this side of the park, I'm thinking about, you know, the other side, the dark side, the side that most of you aren't fans of. And again, guys, I always try to put myself in the other's shoes and to, you know, really understand this war. That's great. Got a jogger down there. So I like to hang out over here a bit as well. You know, there were lots of other reasons apart from slavery that might escape the minds of some when it comes to the Civil War, as to why they fought. You know, because I always talk about, you know, the reasons that both sides held dear and so on and so forth. And you probably, hopefully caught the last video at Devil's Den, you know, one of many over there, where I gave a little chat on this and quoted John Brown Gordon. But there were truly many other reasons. Some may see some as more valid than others. You know, we, apart from slavery, which was a reason for some, but certainly not all, we also had the issue of states' rights. Now, truth be told, of course, some people use that as an excuse, kind of, to perpetuate the institution of slavery. But behind that, there were, I think, many others who saw it in a broader context, who figured, well, okay, say we give up slavery. And I think some Southerners knew that it was running its course and that it would only be a matter of time. I mean, certainly many did. But I think many Southerners felt like, okay, well, so slavery's not going to last much longer. Sure. Okay. What about other states' rights? Are we going to be able to make up our own decisions as a state? Are we going to have any sovereignty at all, after the Civil War and after the issue of slavery? And of course, today, many states largely do. However, whenever those come in conflict with the federal government's going to win. And as I often like to bring up, there was no income tax until after the Civil War. So there's one good example for you. Many simply sought to defend their homeland. In fact, that was perhaps the biggest reason that Robert E. Lee joined the Confederacy. As many of you know, he was a patriot first. He served the federal government. He, upon orders, arrested, along with J.B. Stewart, arrested John Brown at Harper's Ferry. And as many of you know, he was highly sought after by the Union as well to command their forces. And in the end, he declined, of course, and his reasoning was, I cannot raise my hand against my home state. That was something that was his red line. That was something he was just not willing to do. And as I've mentioned, he was barely, not really a slave owner at all. He did own one slave at one point. I've already gone over this, but he did own one slave at a certain point in time, and acted as manager of some slaves for his father-in-law for some time. But he wasn't one of those big plantation owners, that owned hundreds of slaves and any of that stuff at all. And many Southerners simply did not want to see a large federal army invading their home. One of those things, again, where you have to put yourself in the other's shoes. Let's say that you didn't own slaves. And I just went over this in a couple of videos I did recently. Let's say you don't own any slaves and you live in the South. How happy would you be about the thought of a civil war and of troops eventually invading your home state and your home territory and your home land and your farmland? I think, some of you might take to arms and feel the need to defend it. Possibly. Some people had enough foresight to look down the road, like I said, after the end of slavery, which I think many knew would be imminent, at some point in the near future, and decide how much power the federal government ought to have versus the states. Kind of makes me think about habeas corpus. It's something I've been reading up on lately, and not a new topic to me at all, because again, I'm something of a social historian, or a history-based sociologist, and I don't have time to get into that. Dang it, GoPro. Anyways, guys, we'll do a little bit more here on this trip, but till then.